In the grim darkness of the far future, there is no peace, no respite, no salvation, only the endless hunger of the Tyranids. To understand what happens when Tyranids hunt you is to step into a nightmare beyond imagination. For there is no negotiation, no compromise, and no mercy. They are not a species in the traditional sense. They are not a civilization, nor a culture. The Tyranids are the great devourer, a swarm intelligence that spans galaxies, an endless tide of biological horrors bred with one singular purpose: to consume. When they arrive upon a world, the end is already written. Imagine first the silence. A distant planet, settled by the Imperium, or perhaps one of the scattered colonies of humanity, thrives with ordinary life. Families work the fields, soldiers guard their outposts, and priests preach the Emperor's word. Then, without warning, comms begin to fail. Astropaths scream in terror and collapse, their psychic minds crushed under a shadow falling across the warp. This is the first sign of the Tyranid Junta shadow in the warp. When it descends, it is as though every psyker, every sensitive mind, is plunged into suffocating darkness. Hope is smothered, morale is strangled, and resistance begins to fracture before the first claw ever touches the soil. For the ordinary human, the hunt begins long before they ever see a creature. Supplies vanish into chaos. As fear spreads, Imperial commanders shout orders, mobilizing defenses, but their strategies are blind. They cannot coordinate astropathic calls for aid, and local reinforcements may be months away. The unlucky civilians whisper rumors of things spotted in the sky, living meteors tearing through the void, spores falling like diseased rain, skies lit with alien fire. And then, one fateful night, the ground itself trembles. The hunt has arrived. Tyranids attack in waves. First come the spores, falling from the void in a storm of death. Each pod cracks open to release horrors. Ripper swarms that skitter across the earth, consuming everything they touch. Spore mines that drift lazily until they explode into clouds of corrosive ice. And gaunts, the endless, chittering foot soldiers of the swarm. For a guardsman in the trenches, this is the first sight of hell. Waves of alien creatures charging, claws outstretched, firing organic weapons that spit living ammunition. Lascans blaze, artillery thunders, and flamers roar. But still the swarm presses on. Every Tyrida that falls is instantly replaced by another, as though the very ground itself births them. The hunt is not random. It is orchestrated by a collective will beyond comprehension, the hive mind. It is as if the entire species is a single predator, stalking prey with flawless coordination. Lictors prowl ahead of the main swarm, hidden in shadows, killing sentries silently and leaving corpses hung as warnings. Genostealers infiltrate settlements, spreading terror and infection, tearing apart squads in seconds, their claws slicing through ceramite like parchment. And behind the endless tide of smaller beasts, larger monsters loom, carnifexes crashing through barricades, hiveguard obliterating armored tanks, trigons bursting from the ground in showers of dirt and blood. The prey is herded, driven where the hive mind wishes, until escape becomes impossible. For those unlucky enough to be caught in the path of the Tyranid advance, survival is almost unimaginable. Imagine a soldier in the Astra Militarum, standing shoulder to shoulder with comrades in a last defensive line. They fire volley after volley into the oncoming swarm, but ammunition runs dry. Officers are torn apart, and retreat becomes chaos. Screams echo as gaunts leap into the trenches, ripping through flesh. Ripper swarms surge over the fallen, stripping bodies to bone within minutes. The guardsman fights until his weapon fails, and then he dies beneath the weight of claws, teeth, and alien fury. For civilians, the hunt is slower, more horrifying. Those who flee are caught in the open, chased by creatures faster than any man could run. Those who hide may survive hours, maybe days, before lictors find them. And when the great synapse creatures close in the hive tyrants and warriors, the smaller beasts fight with even greater fury, empowered by the psychic control of their masters. There is no safe place, no sanctuary. The swarm smells blood, fear, and life itself. To be human on such a world is to feel the certainty of extinction pressing in from all sides. But the Tyranids do not simply kill. Killing would be merciful. No, they consume. Once resistance collapses, the swarm begins its true work. Biotitans and massive creatures like the Hierophants stride across the battlefield, tearing apart fortresses and feeding their biomass into digestion pools. Organic reclamation towers rise from the earth, churning every scrap of organic metaplants, animals, humans into nutrient slurry. Nothing is wasted. Forests are drained of life. Oceans are boiled away, and skies are stripped of oxygen. The world itself dies as it is digested. The most terrifying part of the hunt is its inevitability. The hive fleet is not one creature but trillions, and they learn with every battle. Each Tyranid that dies provides genetic information to the swarm, allowing the hive mind to adapt. Weapons that worked in the first hour of the invasion may be useless by the second. Bolters that shred gaunts one day may barely pierce their carapace the next. To fight Tyranids is to fight evolution itself, and evolution never stops. Space Marines, even with their legendary courage, struggle against such foes. Entire chapters have been lost in the defense of Imperial worlds, their heroic last stands buying only a few extra hours before the swarm swept over them. Orcs fight with reckless glee, but their bodies feed the biomass just the same. Eldar dance upon the battlefield with speed and precision, but they too are overwhelmed. Even the mighty Necrons, ancient and terrifying, have felt the endless hunger of the hive. For Tyranids care nothing for history or pride, they exist only to consume. And still, the horror continues. Once the biomass of a world is drained, the planet itself is left a barren husk, stripped of atmosphere, lifeless and ruined. The hive fleet moves on, hungering for the next meal, leaving behind only silence. No monuments number ruins. No survivors, just a scar in the void where life once flourished. So, what happens when Tyranids hunt you? The answer is chillingly simple. You die. You die screaming, fighting, or running. You die slowly or instantly. You die with courage or in despair. But death is certain, because when the great devourer descends, there is no escape. Your world becomes food. Your body becomes fuel, and your memory is erased as though it never existed. In the galaxy of Warhammer 40K, there are countless threats but none as inevitable. Nonahas finalas, and if you ever hear the phrase whispered across the void, the hive fleets are coming, Tinkanotes, the hunt has already begun.